You know what nobody tells you about discipline? It has nothing to do with being a morning person, or having superhuman willpower, or even wanting it bad enough. Last Tuesday, I watched my roommate eat cold pizza for breakfast while scrolling TikTok for 45 minutes. Same guy who swore January 1st that this was his year. Sound familiar? Yeah, thought so. Here's the thing, and this might sting a little. Motivation is basically a scam. It's like waiting for the perfect weather to go for a run. Spoiler alert, it's always either too hot, too cold, or you just ate Chipotle. But what if I told you there's a stupidly simple mental trick that literally rewires how your brain approaches discipline? And no, it's not another just do it pep talk. This is different. So picture this. 3 months ago, I'm lying in bed at 2 p.m. on a Sunday, Netflix asking if I'm still watching. Judgy much? Empty energy drink cans creating a modern art installation on my nightstand. I'd promised myself I'd work out, meal prep, maybe even tackle that side project. Instead, I'd achieved a new personal record for consecutive hours in pajamas. That's when my friend Jake texts me. This dude went from couch potato to running his own business, getting jacked, and somehow still having time to learn Spanish. I'm thinking steroids or witchcraft, right? Dude, how? I text back. His response changed everything. I stopped negotiating with myself. Wait, what? Here's what he meant. Every morning, we play this weird mental tennis match. The alarm goes off. One part of your brain goes, let's crush today. The other part's like, but this blanket is so warm and technically time is a social construct. Sound familiar? That negotiation is where discipline goes to die. So Jake introduced me to what I now call the 10-second rule. It's embarrassingly simple, which is probably why it actually works. When you need to do something and your brain starts that whole negotiation dance, you've got exactly 10 seconds. Count down, 10, 9, 8, and just start moving. Don't think, don't plan, don't check the weather. Just start moving. Why 10 seconds? Because that's about how long you have before your brain's excuse department fully comes online. It's like beating the loading screen on your own procrastination. But here's where it gets interesting. This isn't really about the counting. It's about what happens in your brain when you consistently override that negotiation phase. See, every time you hesitate, you're actually strengthening neural pathways that make hesitation easier next time. It's like your brain's building a highway to Procrastination City, and you're funding the construction. But when you act within those 10 seconds, you're building a different highway, one that leads to, I'm the kind of person who just does things. And that identity shift, that's where the magic happens. Let me break this down with something we can all relate to. You know that pile of laundry that's been resting on your chair for a week? The one that's basically furniture at this point? Old you? I should fold that, but I need to find a good podcast first. And maybe after this episode. Actually, I'm pretty tired. 10-second rule, you. Sees laundry, counts down, starts folding. No committee meeting in your head. No negotiation, just action. Here's the framework that's literally rewired how I approach everything. Step 1, catch the hesitation. The moment you think, I should probably, that's your cue. Your brain just fired up the excuse factory. Time to move. Step 2, deploy the countdown 10, 9, 8. This isn't meditation. It's a mental sprint. You're racing your own BS. Step 3, minimum viable action. You don't need to run a marathon. Just put on your shoes. Don't need to write a novel. Just open the document. The goal is to start, not to be perfect. Step 4, ride the momentum. Here's what's wild. Once you start, continuing is usually easier than stopping. Physics applies to productivity too. Objects in motion tend to stay in motion. But wait, there's more. I've always wanted to say that. This works because you're not fighting your nature. You're hacking it. Your brain hates uncertainty more than effort. When you remove the decision-making part, the doing part gets surprisingly easier. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't negotiate. You don't need motivation. You just do it. That's the relationship we're building with everything else. Now, I know what you're thinking. Cool story, bro. But what about when it's actually hard? Fair point. Here's the plot twist. Discipline isn't about doing hard things. It's about making things automatic so they stop feeling hard. That workout that feels impossible? 10-second rule yourself into just showing up at the gym, even if you just stretch and leave. Why? Because you're not building muscles. You're building the habit of being someone who shows up. That creative project gathering dust? 10-second rule yourself into opening the file. Write one sentence, draw one line, send one email. Progress isn't about perfection. It's about proving to your brain that starting isn't scary. And here's what nobody talks about. Discipline is contagious. Make your bed without negotiating, and suddenly doing the dishes seems less daunting. Reply to that email immediately, and suddenly your whole inbox looks manageable. It's like your brain goes, oh, we're that person now? The one who just handles things? Cool, cool. 3 months later, I'm not perfect. Still human. Still occasionally eat cereal for dinner. But that constant mental negotiation, that exhausting inner debate about every little task, gone. Instead, there's just doing. It's weirdly peaceful. So here's my challenge to you. Right now. Not tomorrow. Not after you finish this video. What's one thing you've been negotiating with yourself about? Got it? Good. 10, 9, 8. Look, discipline isn't about becoming a productivity robot. It's about freeing up mental energy for stuff that actually matters. Every decision you don't have to make is brain power you can use elsewhere. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're just stuck in negotiation mode. And now you know the way out. The person you want to be. They're not waiting for Monday. They're not waiting for motivation. They're just waiting for you to stop negotiating and start the countdown. 10 seconds. That's all that stands between who you are and who you're becoming. What are you waiting for?